Hello guys, welcome to the exam red. So let's just begin with our next chapter, chapter number 7, triangles. Before that, we can just for more videos you can subscribe and go through our website, and you can have the PDF notes also. So let's just start with our next chapter, that is chapter number 7, triangles. Okay, so guys, what is triangles? Basically, in this chapter you will study about the geometry of the triangles, right? You will study about the geometry of the triangle. You will study about certain theorems which will tell the certain things about the triangle. Then you will study about the congruency rule. You will learn the certain new things that you have not studied yet. So in this chapter you will basically have a new form of the triangle. Okay, so let's just begin with our basics. Okay, so what are the triangles and what are the different types of triangle? So basically triangles can be of different time based on the different concepts. So in this concept we'll study about the 4 types of triangles, and these are the equilateral triangle, isosceles triangle, right triangle and scalene triangle. I'm sure you would have know something about these type of triangles in your earlier classes or in your primary classes, but for the starting of the concept, let's just begin with them too. Okay, so what is an equilateral triangle? Basically this is very easy. Equilateral triangle, it is the type of the triangle in which all the sides are equal to each other, right? This is what we called as the equilateral triangle. There is a very minor difference between all of them. So we'll just go through them. That's what we called as an equilateral triangle, in which all the sides are comparatively equal. Okay, next we'll start with the isosceles triangle. So in the isosceles triangle, the two sides of the triangle are equal, right? This is what we called as an isosceles triangle. In this particular chapter you will also get to know about the certain properties of the isosceles triangle and the certain theorems which are associated with this isosceles triangle. Okay, so isosceles triangle actually means the two equal sides. So in the case of isosceles triangle, the two sides are equal, and due to the two sides are equal, the two opposite angles are also equal. Now you people will question that why the opposite angles are equal. That I'll answer you in the other slides, that why the opposite angles of the isosceles triangles are equal. There is a certain proof, there is a theorem related to this, and we'll just discuss this. Okay, then there is a right triangle. You all know about this Pythagoras theorem. That what is a Pythagoras theorem? Pythagoras was a mathematician who derived the theorem which was named as the Pythagoras theorem, and this theorem was basically for the right angle triangle, right? This was for right angle triangle. So in the case of right angle triangle, basically a 90-degree angle is there, a perpendicular is there, a base is there, and a hypotenuse is there. So this is what we called as a right angle triangle. And the last and the fourth one is the scalene triangle. Okay, this is very easy. A scalene is any triangle in which all the sides they are unequal. Every side is unequal. This is what we called as a scalene triangle. Right angle triangle with the 90-degree angle, isosceles having two equal sides or two equal angles, and in the case of equilateral, all the sides are equal, and also in equilateral triangle all the angles are of 60-degree. Then I can question you that why all the angles in the equilateral triangles are of 60-degree. Why so? It is because we can just answer this thing by our previous chapter, lines and angles. Okay, so in the lines and angles we have studied about the angle sum property, right? We have studied about the last theorem, that is the angle sum property, which describes that the sum of all the angles in a triangle is equals to 180-degree. So since all the sides of equilateral triangle are equal and all the angles of equilateral triangle are equal, that is why each angle of equilateral triangle is 60 degree. You can just solve it like this, like let this angle 1, let this angle 2, let this angle 3. You know that all the angles are equal, so by the angle sum property, angle 1 plus angle 2 plus angle 3 equals to 180 degree. Since all of them are equal, we can just put them equals to angle 2, like we can put them equal to anything. Okay, so 3 of angle 2 equals to 180. So angle 2 will be equals to 60 degree. And since all of them are equal, that is why all the angles are 60 in case of this equilateral triangle. Understood? Okay, so you can see here that all the chapters in the mathematics, they are interlinked with each other. Like you can see that we can just prove that why the all angles in equilateral are 60 degree, we can just prove by using the lines and angles theorem. So we need to link the geometry and all the chapters of the mathematics so that we can easily go through them, right? So our next thing is the congruency. Basically, what is a congruency of triangle is, so this is a very new concept for you people. You don't know anything about similarity, congruency. Similarity you will understand in class 10th sessions, but in class 9th you just have to know about what are congruent triangles and how the triangles are congruent and what is the CPCT term. Okay, so basically first of all you have to go through that what is congruent triangle. Here you can have a look on this particular chart. You will get to know what are congruent triangles and how the triangles are considered to be congruent, right? So if the triangles are congruent, they must satisfy these following condition. Okay, so the first condition is the three sides of one triangle are equal to the three sides of the other. Okay, basically suppose there are two triangles. If all the sides of triangle are equal to each other, all the three sides, then the triangle is considered to be congruent. This is what we called as SSS congruency rule. This is SSS congruency rule. So you have to keep one thing in mind, that whatever I'll explain in this, A will be the angle and S will be the side. You have to know these terms. So in this case, SSS congruency rule is there. It means side congruency rule. It means side side. All the three sides are equal. Then we called it as SSS congruency rule. You will study about these rules and theorems also, and I'll explain you there. So this is just a short note for these, that what are the congruent triangles and how they are congruent. Okay, so the second is the two sides including one angle in a triangle are equal to the two sides and including. For example, there are two triangles. Suppose this side is equal to this side and this side is equal to this side, and this angle is equal to this angle, then it will be SAS congruency rule. Okay, you can just know that what is SAS congruency rule by using these terms: side, angle, side. Basically this is side, then angle, then side. One more thing that I'll explain you later, but I have to tell you, note that whatever congruency rules I am telling you or you are studying, basically they must be simultaneous. Okay, they must be corresponding. For example, in the case of SAS congruency rule, you just can't consider this side, this angle, and then this side. This is not at all acceptable. For the SAS congruency rule, they must be corresponding, they must be adjacent. It means this is not considered. Okay, it means that first is a side, second must be the corresponding angle of that particular side. It can be this or it can be this, right? Then it must be the another side which is linked to this particular side. It can't be any side or any angle in this case. In every congruency rule I am telling you, there must be simultaneous or corresponding sides, angles must be present. It can't be like any angle you can consider. It can't be like that. You have to consider only the angle present in between them. Okay, so the next is two angles and one side. So this is we called as ASA. So in that case you have to take the two corresponding angles and the side between them only. You can't take any other side. You can only take the side between these two angles. So this is be called as ASA, or angle side angle congruency rule. Another is the right hypotenuse side congruency rule. So this is RHS congruency rule, where R is the right angle, H is hypotenuse, and S is the side. So in this RHS case, basically the angles of both the triangles must be equal to 90 degree. Any side, either it be a base or it be a perpendicular, must be equals to each other, and hypotenuse must be equal to each other. Then the two triangles will be called as the RHS congruency. Okay, they must be called as then they will be called as the congruent triangles. Then we'll start with the CPCT. Okay, so what is the CPCT? Okay, so suppose when the two triangles are congruent to each other. For example, this is the example. Basically, the CPCT stand for this corresponding part of the congruent triangles, right? This is the corresponding part of the congruent triangle is the CPCT. Suppose this is a particular two triangles. So in this, ABD is congruent. Basically, the congruency is always represented by this sign, some wave-like sign. Okay, then it is followed by an equal to sign. So this is what we called as an congruency. It's a very easy one. So suppose ADB is congruent to CDB, right? By SAS. Suppose SAS means side angle side. It means any of the two sides are equal. Like this is the common one. Let's suppose this one is equals to this one, and suppose this angle is equals to this angle. So by side angle side, ABD will be congruent to DBC. Basically, CPCT means that you can consider other angles or the other side of these particular triangles to be equal by using this CPCT one, but it is applicable only for the congruent triangles. When the triangles are congruent, then we can apply the CPCT rule. So by CPCT, we can consider AD equals to BC, or we can consider angle A equals to angle C. We can consider anything by using CPCT if the true triangles, they are congruent to each other. Right, this is what is the congruency rule. Now we'll start with some theorems of the triangle. There are total 8 theorems in this chapter, in this particular chapter. So we'll begin with one, and one by one we will just know that what are these theorems. So first is the ASA congruency rule. This is what I've explained you in the earlier slide, that ASA stands for angle side angle, and always take care that you have to take the corresponding angle and the corresponding side to apply this congruency rule. Like this angle, and this side, you just can't take any other side. You have to take only the side between the two angles for applying this particular congruency rule. So basically, according to the theorem number 1, the two triangles are congruent if the two angles and the included side of one triangle are equal to the two angles and the included side of other triangle. Basically, let's just suppose there are two triangles. Let's suppose the name of the first triangle be ABC and name of the second triangle be PQR. Let's suppose angle A is equals to angle P. Right, so in that case what we have to do is so basically, after considering that particular angle, we have to take the another angle. Basically, let's suppose C be the angle and R be the another angle. So if angle A is equals to angle P, yes, or angle C is equals to angle R, then we have to take this side equals to this side. Then only both the two triangles will be considered as congruent. And how we'll write this congruent thing is, triangle ACB is congruent to triangle PRQ. Basically, you have to understand this thing very carefully, that in naming of these congruent triangles, you have to name according to their equality or their similarity. Basically angle A is equals to angle P, so then we'll just write angle A and angle P like this. Since angle C is equals to angle R, then we'll write like this. Okay, so this is what we have to do when we have to name a particular triangle congruent to the another particular triangle, right? So these are the other two theorems, theorem 7.2 and theorem 7.3. So basically this is what I am telling you about the isosceles triangle property, that in the case of isosceles triangles, since isosceles triangle is the one in which the sides are equal, the two sides of the triangle are equal, what we called as the isosceles triangle. Let's suppose this is an isosceles triangle. So in that case, theorem 7.2 says that angle opposite to the equal sides of the isosceles triangles are equal. So this is the side. What is the angle opposite to this particular side? The angle opposite to this particular side is angle B, and angle opposite to this particular side is angle C. So this theorem says that if AB is equals to AC, okay, then angle B will also be equals to angle C. Okay, so why? Basically you have to study the proof of this theorem, and I'll just tell you about the proof of this theorem in the next slide. So let's just get back to the another theorem, that is theorem 7.3. basically this theorem 7.3 is the reverse or the inverse of theorem 7.2. They are basically the same thing, but they are just the inverse or reverse of each other. The theorem 7.3 says that if, so let's suppose PQR is a triangle. So in triangle PQR, if angle Q is equals to angle R, then PQ will be equals to PR. This is what the theorem number 7.3 says, and they are basically the reverse or inverse of each other, right? So let's have a look on the theorem 7.2, why the angles are opposite to the equal sides of isosceles triangles are equal. So this is theorem 7.2 proof. Okay, so basically this is the half of the proof, and I'll tell you that how to prove the other things. Okay, so this is very easy. First of all, we have to take a triangle. Let's just suppose this is the triangle ABC. Okay, so basically there is some construction, as I told you in lines and angles, that to solve a question we can do any construction. So this is the bisector of angle A. So let this suppose to be angle 1 and this be angle 2. Since this is a isosceles triangles, both of these sides are equal. So I told you in the earlier chapters that to prove or to solve the geometry questions, you have to write the given term. Given term is AB equals to AC, right? Then to prove is that angle AB is equals to angle C, and proof is, first of all we have to write the construction if we are doing something. So we are doing that AD is the bisector, D is the basically bisector of angle A. So by that thing angle 1 will be equals to angle 2. So how will prove this? Okay, so let's have a look there. So in triangle we'll see that there are two triangles formed by this AD thing. So the triangle ABD and triangle ACD. So basically in this triangle you know that this angle is equal to this angle, because AD is the bisector of angle A. This is already by construction, you know, this is by construction. Now AB is equals to AC. That's already given, that the given triangle ABC is an isosceles, so AB will be equals to AC, and you can just see that AD is the side which is the common between them. So AD is equals to AD common, so side, angle and side. So by SAS congruency rule, triangle BAD is congruent to triangle CAD, right? So what we have to just prove that angle B is equals to angle C. So this is very easy. I told you about the CPCT. So basically by corresponding part of the congruent triangles we can say that angle B is equals to angle C. This is the proof of the particular theorem 7.2. Right, so this is very easy. You just have to prove the two triangles to be congruent, and once it is done you can just consider them as equal by CPCT. Okay, so this is the theorem number 7.2. Let's move forward towards theorem number 7.4. Okay, so theorem number 7.4 is SSS congruency rule. SSS, as the name suggests, is side, side and side. So this is very easy, no need to explain them. These are the two triangles, triangle ABC and triangle PQR, right? If AB is equals to PQ, AC is equals to PR and BC is equals to QR, then by SSS congruency rule, both of the triangles will be considered, like triangle ABC will be congruent to triangle PQR. This is the theorem number 7.4. So let's move towards theorem number 7.5. This is the RHS congruency, as I explained you in the as a brief note in the earlier slides. What is RHS congruency rule? In which there must be a right angle. What is the right angle, people? Angle equals to 90 degree, right? Then hypotenuse must be equal, and any of this side between the any of this side, either it be a base or it be a perpendicular, must be equal. Then only by RHS congruency two triangles are considered to be equal. So these are the two triangles ABC and DEF. In that case, the base of both the triangles are equal, hypotenuse are equal, and the angle E and angle B is 90. So by RHS congruency rule, both the triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DEF, right? So let's have a look on the statement that if in the two triangles the hypotenuse and one side of one triangle are equal to the hypotenuse and one side of the another triangle, then the two triangles are the congruent to each other. Okay, so this is what we called as the theorem 7.5. Okay, so let's move forward towards another theorem, that is theorem number 7.6, right? So 7.6 theorem is basically the theorem belonging to the inequality of triangle. Okay, so it is a theorem which belongs to the inequality of the triangle. So in this particular theorem, basically what did you mean by inequality? Inequality basically means that one side is larger or one angle is larger or another side is larger or shorter. This is what we called as an inequality, right? So according to theorem 7.6, if the two sides of the triangle are unequal, then the angle opposite to the longer side is larger. Let's just suppose that there are two sides PQ and PR. Let's suppose that PQ is not equal to PR. Okay, so basically PQ is the larger side. You can easily see that PQ is larger than PR, right? PQ is larger than PR. So in that particular case, the angle opposite to the larger side, that is angle R, okay, that will be greater than the angle opposite to the angle opposite to the shorter side. It means angle R will be greater than angle Q. Okay, so this is what you mean by the theorem 7.6. We'll just have a look on certain examples and questions, then you can easily understand that what this theorem meant. Okay, so then is the inequalities of the triangle. So inequalities of the triangle include other two theorems also, theorem 7.7 and theorem 7.8. Okay, this is theorem 7.8. So the theorem 7.7 suggests the similar thing as the theorem 7.6 suggests. Basically it is the opposite. If any triangle, the side opposite to the larger angle is longer. Let's just suppose that angle C is larger than angle B. So in that case, the side opposite to this will be longer. It means AB will be longer than or the greater than AC. This is what you meant by the theorem number 7.7. Okay, so basically this is the particular triangle PQR. Let's suppose that angle R is greater than angle Q. So in that case, the side opposite to angle R, that is this PQ side, will be larger than the side opposite to this shorter angle, that is PR. This is the theorem number 7.7. Okay, let's just have a look on the last theorem of this chapter, which we also called as the triangle inequality theorem. This is we called as triangle inequality theorem. Okay, what is a triangle inequality theorem? Basically, the triangle inequality theorem suggests that the sum of the two sides of the triangle is always greater than the length of the other side. Let's suppose there is a triangle ABC. Right, there is a triangle ABC. So what we have to do is, this is this triangle ABC. Basically, what they mean from this particular theorem is that AB plus BC is greater than AC, or AB plus AC is greater than BC, or AC plus BC is greater than AB. This is what they meant from this last theorem. This is theorem number 7.8. Okay, this is very important theorem. This is considered as the inequalities of triangle because they do not involve the equal to 1. They involve the greater than or less than sign. That is why they are known as the inequalities of triangles. So we'll just have a look on certain problems, and I'm sure that these problems will basically help you understood the basic concept of the triangle. It is the very easiest chapter of the geometry, right? So we'll have a look on certain questions and we'll try to solve them out also. So people, let's have a look on them. So our first question is depend upon the congruency criteria. That is what we have studied is basically ASA congruency rule, SSS congruency rule, then SAS congruency rule, AAA congruency rule. These are the congruency rule that we have studied, and we have to just apply them in this particular question. Although the questions are solved, but we have to try to solve them out with ourselves only. Okay, so this is a particular quadrilateral. Let's just draw this quadrilateral to make it more clear to you people. So this is the something quadrilateral. This is C, this is A, this is D, and this is B. Okay, this is the angle and these sides are equal. So in this quadrilateral, what is given that AC is equals to AD. Okay, then show that triangle and it AB bisects triangle A. So basically let it 1 and let it 2. Okay, let it 1 and let it 2. So show that triangle ABC is congruent to triangle ABD. Okay, so what we'll do is basically you can see here that in triangle what we have to write is in triangle ACB and triangle ADB, basically AC is equals to AD, that is given already, right? Angle 1 is equals to angle 2, that's also given, that AB is the bisector of angle A. Then AB is equals to AB because both the terms they are common to each other, right? So by SAS congruency, triangle ABC is congruent to triangle ABD. Hence proved. The next part is what can you say about BC and BD. So basically, since both the triangles are congruent, BC will be equals to BD by CPCT, right? So this is we have to do in this particular questions, right? So let's move to the another question. ABCD is another quadrilateral. The quadrilateral is like this. It is a kind of a kite shaped quadrilateral. You can see the triangles here. This is A, this is B, okay, this is D, and this one is C. Okay, so basically what is given that AD is equals to BC. See the given figure, prove that triangle ABD is congruent to triangle BAC. Basically this one, what we have to do is, let me highlight it, then you people could better understand that thing. ABD is this one with a BAC, and this one is your BAC. Basically you can easily say that AD is equals to BC, that's already given. Then we can see that AB is equals to common, right? Then angle DAB is equal to angle CAB. DAB is this angle and CBA is this angle is given. So by SAS congruency, both the triangles will be congruent. So first part is done. Second part is BD is equals to AC. So by CPCT, BD will be equals to AC, right? Another part is ABD. Let's take another marker to prove this. ABD. ABD is basically this angle. Angle ABD is this one. This one is angle ABD, and angle BAC. And angle BAC will be this one. So basically, since we have proved them as congruent, we can say basically ABD, we have proved that angle ABC is congruent to triangle PAD. Okay, so by the CPCT we can see that in triangle ADB, angle B is equal to in triangle ABC, angle A. So by CPCT we have proved the other parts of this particular question, right? So this is the questions related to the congruence criteria. I'll also let you solve the other questions too. You have to solve them by your own, so we'll have a better understanding of these terms, that how they are and how they can be solved. They are very easy. So in right triangle ABC, basically there is a right triangle ABC which is right triangled at C. M is the midpoint of AB, so basically AM is equals to MB. Okay, C is joined to M in such a way and produced to D that DM is equals to this DM is equals to this CM, right? Point D is joined to point B. Okay, so show that the triangle AMC, this is triangle AMC and this is triangle BMD. Why they are equal? You can see that both the sides are equal and the angle between them is also equal. Why? Let's get back to the lines and angles. That triangle AMC is equal to angle DMB because they are vertically opposite angles. So by this SAS congruency rule, both of them they are congruent. Then angle DBC is equals to right angle. So how that angle DBC is equals to right angle? We have to prove this. Okay, so how we can just prove them is basically you can see here that angle ACM is equal to angle BDM by CPCT. Okay, so basically they are alternate interior angles, so they are equal. It means that DB and AC are parallel. By theorems in the by theorems in the lines and angles chapter, we know that when the two angles or alternate interior angles are equal, then the two lines are considered to be parallel. So basically DB is parallel to AB, DB is parallel to AC. So in that case angle DBC is equal to plus angle ACB equals to 180 degree by co-interior angle thing, right? By co-interior angle DBC plus angle ACB is equals to 180 degree. If you find any problem in writing the names of the angle, you can just name them as 1, 2 or anything you want. You know that angle ACB is already given as 90 degree. So by solving this, we'll get DBC equals to 90 degree, right? So this is proved. Now the another part is triangle DBC is congruent to triangle ACB. So DCB is this and ACB is this. You can see that in this particular case what we have to do is basically BC is the common one. Both these they are equal, both these are 90 degree angle, right? Then hypotenuse of both of them are equal because both of them they join to form the particular thing. Like you can say that AM plus MB is equals to AB, right? Now AB is equals to AM is also equals to MB, right? So you can say that 2AM. Similarly CM is equals to MD. And since from this we have proved by the first thing, we have proved that by CPCT AC is also equal to BD. So by SAS congruency criteria, both of this triangle DBC is congruent to triangle ACB. Now we are left with the last part, that is CM equals to half of AB. So what we'll do here is, let's just suppose this is CM plus MD is equals to CD, right? Basically by this congruency rule we can say that AB is equals to CD by CPCT, right? So basically we can just write that AB is equals to CD, so we can write like this: CM plus MD is equals to AB. Now CM is already equals to MD, so we can write CM plus CM equals to AB, right? So 2CM will be equals to AB and CM will be equals to half of AB. This is the particular question to be done. You will examine this type of questions in your exam, which contain 2 to 3 parts, and you have to solve each of them, right? Our next question is based on the isosceles triangle properties, in which we have studied about that angle opposite to the equal sides are equal, or the sides opposite to the equal angles are equal. These questions are based on them, that is theorem 7.4 and theorem 7.5. okay, so theorem 7.4 and 5. So basically what's the question is, in an isosceles triangle, let's just suppose this is an isosceles triangle, this is A, this is B, and this one is C. There is this point present as a centroid. This is not a centroid, I am just calling it a centroid. Okay, then this is a isosceles, so AB is equals to AC, right? Now the bisectors of angle B and angle C, they intersect at O. So these are the bisectors. So basically this is angle 1, this is angle 2, this is angle 3, and this is angle 4. They are equal. So show that OB is equals to OC. So basically for proving that OB is equals to OC, what we have to do is we just have to prove the two triangles to be congruent to each other. So basically AB is equals to AC is already given, as the given triangle is isosceles. Then since the angle opposite to the equal sides are equal, so angle B is equals to angle C, right? So half of angle B is equals to half of angle C, right? Okay, then respectively, so angle OBC will be equals to angle OCB. Okay, let's just explain you what I meant. Since AB is equals to AC, now the angle opposite to the equal side are equal. Am I right? Yes. Then angle B is equals to angle C. Since the angle B and angle C, they are bisected by a certain line, that is why the half of angle B can be equals to half of angle C, right? We can say that angle 2 is equals to angle 3. Now the converse of this theorem, the side opposite to equal angle are equal. This is the converse. We can say that OB is equals to OC. Okay, now AO bisects angle A. What we have to prove, let this be 5 and let this be 6. We have to prove that angle 5 is equals to angle 6. So what will be the proof? How will prove this? We have to consider these particular triangles. So in this particular triangle, AB is equals to AC, given. OB is equals to OC, we have proved earlier. Okay, and we have seen that angle ABO is equals to angle ACO, right? So the triangle AOB is congruent to triangle AOC. So by CPCT, angle 5 is equals to angle 6, hence proved, right? This is the question for the isosceles triangle property. Let's have a look on another question for this same properties. So another question is, AD is the perpendicular bisector. So let's have a look on this term, what is perpendicular bisector. This is the perpendicular bisector. Basically, perpendicular bisector means which bisects the line in equal parts, and perpendicularly means 90 degree. So it means that BD is equals to DC and angle ADB will be equals to 90 degree, right? So what we have to prove is that show that ABC is an isosceles triangle in which AB is equals to AC. Now how will prove? By CPCT we can prove this. So in triangle ABD and triangle ACD, I'm sorry, we can consider ABD and triangle ACD, right? So what we have seen here is angle ADB is equals to angle ADC because of that perpendicular bisector thing. Then BD is equals to DC because also of that perpendicular bisector thing. Now AD is equals to AD because that's common. Now triangle ABD will be congruent to triangle ACD by SAS congruency, right? So by CPCT, AB is equals to AC, hence ABC is isosceles triangle. Okay. Now our next question is from exercise 7.3. Okay, so our next question is basically triangle ABC and triangle DBC are the two equilateral triangles. So basically they are the two isosceles triangle, I'm sorry, on the same base. Okay, so A and D, they are on the same side BC. Okay, A and B, they are on the same, this is the equilateral this is the isosceles triangle, and in that case basically ABC is also isosceles triangle and DBC is also an isosceles triangle. They are present on the same base BC, right? If AD is extended to intersect BC at point P, okay, show that triangle ABD is congruent to triangle ACD. Let's have a look. In triangle ABD and ACD, this is ABD and this is ACD, right? So what we have seen in this particular triangle is basically this and this thing is equal, right? This and this thing is equal, that is already given. On A, this AD is common, right? So AB is equals to AC given, that both of them are isosceles triangles. Then BD is equals to CD, this is also given. AD equals to AD, that's common. Triangle ABD is congruent to triangle ACD, right? This is in the first part. The second part is triangle ABP is congruent to triangle ACP. Now this is triangle ABP and this is ACP. In that case also what we'll see is AB is equals to AC, that is given. Okay, then angle BAP is equals to angle CAP. Why? Because by CPCT we have made both of them triangles be equal, so we can consider them equal, this one equal. Okay, then this AP is common, so by SAS congruency rule we can say that both of them, they are congruent to each other. We can say that AB is equals to AC, right? Angle BAP is equals to angle CAP and AAP equals to AP common. So triangle ABP is congruent to triangle ACP, right? This is the second part, this is the first part. Third part is AP bisects A as well as D. We have already proved that AP bisects A with the help of the CPCT. Then AP bisects D. Okay, so how will prove that this AP bisects D? Basically we have to prove that this particular angle is equals to this particular angle. We have to prove if BDP is equals to angle CDP. For that particular thing we have to take two triangles in triangles BDP and CDP. Okay, So BDP and CDP, basically BD is equals to DC, already given, right? Since both of them are equilateral triangles, we can say that angle B is equals to half of angle B is equals to half of angle C, because they are the bisectors, right? Then we can say that this particular thing is also common between them. So by this we can just prove also, by when we have this proof, then we have considered that PB, basically BP is equals to CP by CPCT. So we can also take BP is equals to PC by CPCT, and we have already taken that this PD is equals to PD common. So by this, triangle BDP is congruent to triangle CDP. So by CPCT, angle BDP is equal to angle CDP. Okay, this is the whole question. Now let's look at the other questions for this particular thing. So other questions are BE and CF. They are the two equal altitudes of triangle ABC. This is a triangle ABC. Basically this is altitude E and this is altitude CF, right? And these are the altitude, that is why they are 90°. Okay, so basically what is given using RHS congruency, this is the equal altitude, so this is equals to this. So on basis using RHS congruency, we have to prove that triangle ABC is isosceles triangle. So look at the question here. What we have to prove is basically ABC as isosceles, so we have to prove is AB equals to AC. Okay, so first of all is BE is equals to CF. That's already given that both the two altitudes, they are equal, right? Then basically the hypotenuse one, so there is a hypotenuse BC in both of them, so BC is equals to BC, that is the hypotenuse is common or equal. Okay, now angle BEC is equals to angle BFC by 90°. So by RHS congruency rule, this triangle BEC is congruent to triangle CFB. Okay, now using CPCT, we can say that angle BCE is equals to angle FBC, right? So basically the sides opposite, using theorem number 4, the side opposite to the equal angles are equal, right? So by this, AB is equals to AC and ABC is isosceles triangle. Let's move on our next question, that is based on inequalities, that is theorem 7.6, theorem 7.7 and theorem 7.8, which suggests that the side on the opposite side of the larger angle is always larger than the side of the opposite to the shorter angle. Okay, and the angle present on the opposite side of the larger side is always greater than the angle present on the opposite side of the shorter angle. And theorem 7.8 as usual suggests that basically that the in the triangle, the sum of the two sides are always greater than the other third side, any of the third side. So basically the next question is AB and CD, they are respectively the smallest and the longest side of the quadrilateral ABCD. This one is AB and this one is CD, right? Now show that angle A is greater than angle C and angle B is greater than angle D. So how will we just prove this? So basically in triangle ABC, since AB is the shortest side, then AB must be less than BC, or we can say that BC is greater than AB. So the side opposite to BC, the angle opposite to the BC will always be greater than angle opposite to this AB. It means angle BAC is greater than angle BCA. Am I right? Okay, now take another triangle ACD. In that we know that AC is always greater than every side, because AC is the largest side, sorry, CD is the largest side. So we can say that CD is greater than every side because CD is the largest side of the whole quadrilateral. So CD will be greater than AD, right? Okay, so the angle opposite to this CD will be angle CAD, that will be greater than angle opposite to AD, that is ACD. Am I right? What we have to do is mark it as 1, mark it as 2. Add the equations. Add equation 1 and 2. What we'll get is angle BAC plus angle CAD is greater than angle BCA plus ACD. We'll just add them. BAC is this one and CAD is this one. So this is the whole angle A is greater than whole angle C. This is how we have to prove this particular thing. Similarly, we can go for B and D by using the similar thing, right? We can just consider AB instead of AB and BC, we can consider the other sides like AB and AC, so that opposite angle can be B and opposite angle can be D. Okay, so let's move forward towards the another example of this triangle inequality. And another example is, show that in a right angle triangle, this is a right angle triangle ABC having 90-degree angle at B. Okay, so the hypotenuse is the largest side. Okay, so basically we know that angle B is equals to 90-degree by angle sum property. I have told you about this particular property in chapter number 6, that is linear lines and angles. So angle A plus angle B plus angle C is equals to 180-degree. You people keep on revising the previous chapter so that you can better understand the upcoming chapters, because you in case to understand the upcoming chapters you must know the basics of the previous chapters. So you have to revise them, and in case of any queries you can just comment down, and me and my team will get back to you anytime, and we'll able to answer you people. Okay, so this is the angle sum property. So in this particular property what we'll get is this. So basically angle A plus angle C is equals to 90-degree. It means angle A and angle C is less than 90-degree, because the sum is equals to 90-degree. It means they are less than 90-degree. It means that they are acute angles. Okay, so basically what we have to do is, angle B is obviously greater than angle A and angle B is obviously greater than angle C. By the theorem, side opposite to the greater angle is greater. This was the particular theorem. So angle B is the greater angle, so AC will be greater than AB and AC is also greater than BC. It means that AC is the longest side. Understood? Now the last question of this chapter, triangles. I think I've done with the enough questions so that you can understand the basic and even the concept that how to solve a particular question. So basically in this particular figure, this is the particular figure. There are basically two triangles, a small one and a large one. So this is B, this is A and this is O, this is D and this is C. Okay, so basically in this figure, angle B is greater than angle A and angle C is greater than angle D. So show that AD is greater than BC. Okay, so if angle B is greater than angle A, then side opposite to angle B, that is by the theorem, you can simply write that by theorem 7 point so and so, whatever the theorem is, I guess 6, AO will be greater than basically angle B, oh sorry, I'm sorry, it is written that angle B is smaller than angle A. It means angle A is larger than angle B, right? So if angle A is larger, so basically OB will be greater than OA, right? Similarly, we can just write that angle D is greater than angle C, right? So angle opposite, right side opposite to angle D is OC will be greater than the angle opposite to angle C, that is OD, right? Now what we have to do is we just have to mark them as 1 and mark them as 2. Add equation 1 and 2. We'll get is OB plus OC is greater than OA plus OD. So BC is greater than AD. Hence proved. This is the chapter number 7, triangle. Okay, so before moving forward, basically this is the end of the chapter. So before moving forward, I would like to explain you all the theorems, not really explain. I would like to make a short note for the theorem for all of you, so that you people could know that theorems and all. Okay, so let's begin our theorems, right? So basically I'll write just for you people, so that you people could remember that what are those particular theorems be like. So basically our first theorem was for the chapter number 7. Our first theorem was ASA congruency rule. I'm just writing in short so that you can just have a brief of the theorems, just like a short note, right? Then our second theorem is basically that angles opposite to equal sides are equal. Our third theorem is of chapter number 7 is that side opposite to the equal angles are always equal, right? Now let's get to the next theorem, that is SSS congruency rule. That is your side congruency rule. Just giving you a short brief of all the theorems you have studied. Okay, our next theorem was RHS congruency. That is right angle, hypotenuse and any side, right? Our sixth theorem was that basically the angle opposite to the larger side, the angle opposite to the larger side is always greater. Our seventh theorem was side opposite to larger angle is greater. And our last theorem is that the sum of the two sides of triangle is greater than the third side of the triangle. Okay, so that's all with the chapter number 7, triangles. So I hope you people could have a better understanding of this chapter. In case of any queries and doubt, you can just comment down and I'll get back to you. Okay, so thank you and I hope you all enjoyed. Thank you people.